I want to talk about this artist that lives in Amsterdam. Full disclosure about myself, I'm an avid hunter. I hunt waterfowl, and I also hunt upland game. I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is a shitty existence and a wasted death. So, in other words, if I go hunting and I kill a bird, I eat the bird, and I use every part of it. I use the feathers in my art, and this is a part of Native American heritage. You know, you don't waste any aspect of the animal. And my parents had a slaughterhouse when I was a kid, and even in a commercial slaughterhouse, it's the same thing. Nothing is wasted. The blood was saved, as I remember, in a big vat, and Purina came and picked it up, put it into dog food. So she backs up her work. Let's talk about her work real quick. Her work, here's a piece that she did. She had a cat that was terminally ill, and she killed it herself. And she says that she didn't want to take it to the vet because the cat was afraid of going to the vet. Now, I worked as a vet tech, so I probably have a better idea on how to do it than she would. And I would never do that. I would never euthanize my own pet. I'd never put my own pet down. It's crazy. You want it to be as painless and as fast for the animal as possible. That's why you use a veterinarian. So she decides to do it herself. Oh, please. She wanted to do it herself. She could have. There's many vets that she's in Amsterdam, and I'm sure that there's a vet that she could have paid that will come to her house for an extra fee and put the animal down. So she's full of shit there. And what she did was she put the animal down, she skinned it, and made a purse out of it. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Now she has other pieces where she uses dogs and cats, domestic pets, and she kills them and makes sculptures out of them. Now, I'm sorry, but you know, she rationalizes her work. I listen to her talk, and she rationalizes her work, and she says stuff that is factual, which is that, you know, the person that goes to Burger King and orders the hamburger doesn't acknowledge that the animal was once alive, and that the animal was once alive, and before it was alive, it lived in a feedlot, and it had a shitty existence. This is true. People just go right down to the store and buy a chicken, and, you know, it's like abstract to them. In everything, like nowadays, like 120 years ago, you would have, like, it would have been more in your face. You would have gone, and in some places in Brooklyn, you can still go pick out the bird, and they'll kill it for you. But 120, 150 years ago, you go out in your yard, you get a chicken, and you kill it. So it is different. It is different. Out of my friends, I think I'm the only one that's ever, you know, killed a bird. And I've killed many of them, I admit it, you know, but, you know, I'm hunting and I eat the whole thing, and I use everything on the bird, the feathers and all. There's many pieces that that I've used feathers, like the skins of birds, in, and I've been doing this, working the same way for the last 30 years. So she rationalizes her stuff in the realm of how I've been making artwork, and other people have been making artwork, and it's a slap in our face because it's bullshit. First of all, if you're gonna talk about it, you know, say that people should, you know, acknowledge that the animal was alive, why are you using dogs and cats? Why aren't you using pigs, chickens, and cows, things that people eat? Certainly people eat dogs and cats in some Asian countries, but you're in Amsterdam, so it doesn't fly with me. It sounds like you just like to kill. It really doesn't make any sense. If this artist would go out and get a cow and kill it, and doesn't even want to eat the meat, but gives the meat to a food pantry and uses the rest of the cow for her art, I'd have no problem with this. I'd have absolutely no problem. And I have a problem with other artists too. I just saw an artist recently, I can't remember the name, but they used taxidermy peacocks, and my question was, you got a peacock and you had somebody taxidermy it. Did somebody eat the peacock? Because if they didn't, you're a piece of shit. Now, that's your basic rule of thumb. If you shoot it or you make sure that the animal's killed, even if you don't kill it, every bit of that animal has to be used. And if you don't, you're just a psycho killer. And that's what this person is. This person, whatever her name is, you can see it on the video here. She's a piece of shit. Now, another piece that she did, or that she does, she goes in her backyard and she paints numbers on the backs of snails so that she can keep track of how many snails are in her backyard. What the fuck's your problem? Who gives a shit? I don't care how many snails are in your backyard. You're just one of those freaks that likes to pull the wings off of flies and pull the legs off of daddy long legs. You're a freak. Now, here's one piece that really tugs at me, and that's that she has gerbils, and she has 60 gerbils in her house, and she keeps them all in gerbil balls. Now, I have a lot of animals, and each animal is dealt with daily. When I come home, the animals are out, right? My crows are out, my parrot's out right now, everybody's out. She has these 60 gerbils she keeps in gerbil balls, and that's supposed to be about, you know, how animals are confined before they're killed. Yeah, well, we don't eat gerbils, idiot. A gerbil should have a big cage, and you should take it out and interact with it just like you would a dog. I have a huge problem with these people that, you know, do this to birds. You have a bird, and I'm an avian trainer. You have a bird and you just keep it in a cage. That pet store owner in Williamsburg, she's the same type of cruel person. Maybe not as extreme as this, but it's the same thing. She's in the industry. She should know. That's why I mentioned her name. If you were a private person and had a bird in a cage, you know, I'm not going to mention your name. You just don't get it. You know, there's nothing I can do. But somebody that's in my industry that treats animals shitty, yeah, I'll mention your name. I'll mention your name. If you're a private person, I'm just going to try and convince you to hand train the bird. That's all. So this person thinks that it's appropriate to have 60 gerbils. If you had 60 gerbils, how could you interact with 60 gerbils on a daily basis, number one? And number two, a gerbil ball is an appropriate size to keep a gerbil in for 24 hours, 48 hours, or 72 hours, or their whole life, which is what you're doing, you freak. Stop making artwork, period. Nobody is ever going to show your work at this point. You got your fame, you're infamous now. And, you know, you're so famous in such a crappy way, I put you in the same category as John Duncan. John Duncan, for you, all of you that don't know, was an artist in the 70s that what he did was he went down to Mexico and paid a mortuary so that he could have sex with a dead body, and he called it art. He was just fulfilling his sick necrophilia fantasy is what he was doing. It's gross. It's gross, and this person's gross too. So you can rationalize it however you want, but it doesn't even make any sense when you rationalize it. If you were going to do work about how crappy livestock is treated, and you wanted to use, you know, animal skins, you could just buy the animal skins. You wouldn't even have to kill the animals. You're just into killing. And you don't use farm animals. You're using pets. You're sick. And anybody that's a curator out there, don't show this person's work. And if you come to New York and try and show your work, we don't want you. We do not want you here. Get out of the art world. You're not in the art world. You aren't in the art world now. You ruined your career. Even if you started making paintings, it's too late. You showed what you were made out of. Pathetic. A pathetic, actually not pathetic, a sociopath. Or a psychopath, either way. She likes to kill, and she calls it art.